Well, guys, I think it's time to kick off a Naomi Watts marathon. Why? Well, I was thinking of The Ring, because this Rings movie had come out, and yeah, I hadn't seen The Ring in a while, but anyways, I thought I'd watch something with Naomi Watts in it. Now, back in 2002, I believe it was, when it came out on video, I think it was out on video in 2002, Mulholland Drive, I checked it out from where I worked, a video store, and I watched maybe a little over half of it before I turned it off, just thinking, what is this shite? Like, this is so disjointed. And I thought, well, okay, everybody loves this movie anyways, or so they say they do. I remember Roger Ebert, all the critics of the day were going nuts over it. And then I thought, okay, Netflix has this available for instant streaming. I'll check it out. And I guess it's up to me to explain Mulholland Drive, or rather explain how much it sucks. That's right, this movie's not good. It is a pretentious exercise of bullshit that fools the viewer into thinking it's high art. First of all, the visuals. It looks cheap. Yeah, I mean, you can't really get past this. It doesn't look like a movie you'd pay to see necessarily. It looks, maybe just a ring or two ahead of something that would be straight to video in the mid-90s. There's not a lot that can be said about that. Just the shot composition, the stock doesn't look too good. Maybe it's in the transfer, but I'm thinking the original footage isn't that great. But yeah, it's not a visually pleasing movie, and at times some of the music also gives a bit of a cheap sound away to it also, and even some early looking kind of like Final Cut Pro titles look a little cheapening as well. So we're dealing with this gal. She avoided being assassinated in a limo out on Mulholland Drive, and then some teens crash into her, this limo she was in, but she escapes and she has amnesia. Oh boy, amnesia in a movie. How remarkable. Don't you just love amnesia stories? How that gets to be an overused point in films. How many of you watching this have ever had amnesia? And yet look how many times it comes up, particularly in soap operas. So when you throw amnesia into your movie, you're already on my shit list. So we have this. She goes down the hill and heads to sleep in some bushes. And then this girl comes into town, Betty, played by Naomi Watts. She's an aspiring actress, and she's staying at her aunt's place, who's out of town, and she's going to read for a part. And she's just so giddy with excitement and all this. Well, then we have her coming across the amnesia woman who doesn't know her name, but she sees a Rita Hayworth poster, and she says, "Hey, my name is Rita." So they call her Rita. We're going to call her Rita. I think later on they say her name's Camilla or Camille or something like this. So she's doesn't know who she is. Naomi Watts don't know who she is, and they try to figure this stuff out. Meanwhile, there's a guy who's got a few screw looses. He's at a cafe. He says that he had a dream there's some scary person maybe behind the cafe, and that would kill him or something like this. The guy he's talking to is like, what the hell are you talking about? So they walk out behind the cafe, and there's a homeless, I believe it's a woman, that just covered in darkness, just kind of peers around this bin, scares the guy, and he dies right there. And it's like, what's the significance of this? Then we have a hitman who kills some people in the office. He tries to kill one of them, shoots somebody else, has to finish her. Then there's another witness, and the witnesses just keep stacking up. It's supposed to be funny. We also have this movie director who has to recast a lead in a film, but he doesn't want to pick the person the studio execs are leaning on for him to pick. But they pressure him. They have him go meet up with this cowboy who intimidates him and things. All these people intimidate him, and eventually he rolls into this. He also finds his wife cheating on him with Billy Ray Cyrus, who is really unconvincing. He walks in on this, and Billy Ray's like, just pretend you didn't see it. It's better that way. Yeah, that's a line people have ready to go. So convincing delivery, Billy Ray. See where Miley got it from. So, as this is transpiring, Naomi Watts as Betty auditions for a part. Also finds out that there's this dead body where there's this Denise name that Camille remembers. I think they said it was Denise, but they find Denise's body in this apartment, and that doesn't really lead to very many clues about who she is. But in her sleep, she talks about this place, Silencio. And also, yeah, okay, Naomi Watts as Betty auditioned for a part, and it went real well. Okay, big whoop. They go to this place. There's a drawn-out musical performance because Blue Velvet, and then Naomi Watts pulls this box out of her purse, and all of a sudden, Rita takes the box, finds that there is a, what's the best way to jog around here? I'm gonna go back this way. She opens the box up, and that's when the movie gets particularly trippy. So already, Betty and Rita had been kind of hooking up, and they said, I don't like the way those crowd of kids are walking over here. They're hooking up, and this is pushing the envelope in 2001. So that's part of where we're getting our acclaim here, okay? So then we've got this, not necessarily dream sequence, but this waking up and recollection of the past all thrown together, montage. We seem to think that everything we had seen to this point is a dream. That the real answer is Naomi Watts is playing Denise. She has imagined a different scenario here where she didn't put a hit out on her lover, who is actually hooking up with this director guy. All these familiar faces from her life are playing these different roles in some cases. But like Coco's not necessarily the landlady in the reality that is shown to us now. And yeah, it's a bit jarring because there's not a real cue here saying, hey, everything earlier was a dream. And a lot of times when that it was a dream thing goes down, it's more distinct. I think that the fact that this is led to be confusing has garnered more attention to the film than it necessarily deserves, because it really shouldn't be up to the audience to decipher the meaning of the movie. If the director did a good job putting his shit together, writer-director David Lynch, if he did a good job, then you shouldn't have confusion among the public. So to this day, people going up on IMDb trying to figure out what it meant, and then the simplest explanation is like the one I've given you here. And so it's like, okay, the real Naomi Watts character had this dream wishing that she hadn't had Camilla / Rita killed. And then in some kind of denial throw, she kills herself. Now, why is there this nonsense with the box? In reality, does the hitman need to leave a key for anything? What's that garbage about? What's with the story with the old people haphazardly coming in through composite green screen work and attacking Naomi Watts? Yeah. What's the significance of the scary derelict person behind the cafe? These things, the cowboy, really, that needed to be a character. So much of the earlier part of this movie is such a waste of time. I can't look back at the whole movie and say it was worthwhile. I give Mulholland Drive 2 out of 4 stars.